So whatever this woman has to say to you, she can go and, kick rocks. It literally, I had to change that and say, just do you. If no one likes the way you sound, if no one likes that you stutter, if no one likes that you might mess up a word and I catch myself, right? Then they're not your audience. They're not your tribe. So I had to just go back to what I used to do. Think about like, girl, you was a 6-figure earner. What are you talking about? This woman don't know you. Just do you.
Welcome to the Black Hustle Podcast, the podcast for the urban Black entrepreneur. In this podcast, we highlight the real life highs and the lows of the entrepreneurship journey through the stories of your everyday Black entrepreneur. No matter if you're starting or already in the growth or building stage, we have a story for you. Join us now as we jump into another profile in Black entrepreneurship. Hello, everybody. Richard Bird here, and welcome to this episode of Black Hustle. Oh my goodness. Today is my good friend, Alease Michelle. Let me tell you, this is the is. You know, when you think about people that can change your life, she is the is. And so people, y'all jump up and down, clap your hands, do somersaults, send smoke signals, whatever you need to do. Please welcome my good friend today, Miss Alease Michelle.
Yay! Yes. Hello, JR. I'm so excited to be here. You know it, right? This is going to be awesome. I get to talk to my mentor. We get to go back and forth. What do they call it? Chop it up a little bit.
Chop it up. So the crazy part is that whole terminology came from, now is your cousin or your nephew?
He's my cousin.
Your cousin. He's going to be on the show sometime soon as well. But Alease, just run down a little bit about what you do in this journey of entrepreneurship.
Well, basically, let me just say it real simple. I make online coaches, superstars. That's what I do. So basically what I do is I help online coaches market their business the simplest way possible, because I totally understand that there's so much going on online, how to market, how to do this, how to do that. I just show you the simpler and easiest way to get the results, how to get clients, how to sell your coaching program, how to sell your online courses, your digital products. I just make it simple. That's what I'm all about.
Unbelievable. Let's start here. How long did it take you to get that elevator speech down pat like that?
It's changed so many times. I went from this is so funny. I went from being a success coach to a branding coach to being more of where my wheelhouse is, which is marketing. So all of those messages changed as I changed. When I finally figured out where I was my best at, like where I was really good at. So yes, it's taken me years to perfect it, to be comfortable with saying it. And to be honest, I know you probably didn't ask this, it changes within situations. So if I'm in a room full of just entrepreneurs, it changes. Like, hey, I help entrepreneurs make marketing simple. Right, I make it simple online. So I know you didn't ask that, but
it makes perfectly good sense that it has to change depending on who the audience is, and I think sometimes we don't make that change when it comes to audience. Now, for people who don't know you, you actually were an educator. So talk to me a little bit about that side of you, that that professor, Professor Alease.
Well, y'all, look, JR is getting deep. Look. Okay, so he's right. My backbone, my passion, my foundation was in education. I was a retired 19-year college professor. I taught marketing to fashion and graphic design students for over 19 years, and I absolutely loved it. But let me just say, what I do now is exactly what I sort of did in the classroom, but I take it online. I'm still the educator. I'm still the teacher. I'm still taking things that were very difficult in the classroom, and I'm making it easier for people now online. So that's one of my gifts, is taking things that are really hard and simplifying for other people.
And so when you decided, because there's a lot of people out there who are making this shift, and I think the last couple of years of all this turmoil in the country and in the world, a lot of people have made a shift. What made you decide to leave, the academic side of what was going on and move into this new era?
Oh gosh. Okay. So I'm okay. This is what I love about the podcast. I'm just gonna be really real with you, right? Within I'm gonna say about 10 or 11 years into teaching, becoming a professor, teaching and everything, I found out I had breast cancer, stage 2 breast cancer. And so, of course, I took care of that. But when you have a diagnosis like that, it changes the way you see the world, right? I love what I was doing, but I also knew that there was a next level for me. Okay. So once I got that diagnosis, I still did what I did. I went back into the classroom. I taught, I wrote curriculum, I created, I did what I did, right? But in the back of my mind, I said there has to be something different. I've done very well as a college professor. I became a college professor when I was 28. So I was really young. So I did what I needed to do in my 20s and my early 30s, but I was always thinking like, what's the next level? And digital marketing hit the scene. And I was so intrigued with it. And mind you, we have a digital marketing department where they were more digital people, right? But I knew so much that they were coming to me to teach their classes. So I was teaching web people about marketing. I was teaching graphic design people about how to market, where I became the expert when I was like a fashion person. You know what I'm saying? So again, nagging. So one day God spoke to me. One day I was driving to work and that traffic early in the morning, right? And God said, okay, it's time for you to go. I was like, oh no, I was so comfortable with what I was doing. He kept saying, no, it's time to go. You have a next level. And I fought it for about 2 years. He kept saying it to me. It's time for you to go. I kept fighting. I was like, I'm too comfortable. Until one day we got called into the office. And this is right around, things were changing, like recession. I wouldn't say recession, but the education was changing, right? Not a lot of students were enrolling. The cost of education was just really, sky high. And so we were going through a layoff, which is not really heard of in education. But anywho, so they called us in and they say, look, we're going to have to probably do some layoffs in the next year or two, but we're going to give you guys an opportunity for those of you who are ready to retire or ready to, leave. We're going to give you a really fat severance if you take it this semester. And I ran to it. I was like, me. I'm like me, right? And I'm gonna be JR, they did not want me to leave. They did not want to give me that because I was the most senior faculty. I was really, not cocky, but I was really good at what I did. And when I was the one who said I wanted to leave, it was a shock. And they sweetened the deal for me and allowed me to go from being full-time to part-time. I still got my severance package, but they was like, we still want you to teach. So I still taught part-time. But what happened was that freed me up to do what I do now, right? I don't do exactly what I did when I first left, but to take the entrepreneur journey, right, they opened up the doors. I wasn't working those full-time hours and I was able to be free to explore the entrepreneur journey. And I've been at it for going on, we're probably on 7 years now.
So what was the hardest thing for you to do, that walkaway? I mean, it was great that you were able to get, some funds, the revenue, to hold you together while things were going. But what were some of the things that you had to do mentally to make that change?
To know that a steady check wasn't going to come in. I was comfortable. Like, I don't know if anybody who's listening to this know, well, once you've been at a company for a while, you sort of run the show there, right? They don't tend to mess with you. You sort of get what you want. Any new things that happen, they had to really run it through me first to ask me. So I was leaving power and I was leaving comfortability. okay? Because I had some power, right? Being the senior most faculty member, I had a lot of power, right? And that's why it was so shocking that I was the one leaving. Because if they were to do some type of layoff, I would have been the last one. Like the last one, because I was the most senior faculty member there. So comfortability, right? Knowing where I was good at, knowing that I could go into a classroom and teach my heart out for 2 to 3 hours and never have notes. I knew that I was going to get a paycheck. I knew my students were going to get these type of results, this type of success. Like I knew it, it was familiar to me, and it was comfortable. So to leave was, am I going to be that successful in another area, in another field, in another niche, right? Am I going to be successful? Am I going to be able to manage myself? Because, going to work, they sort of manage you. Like they tell you what your schedule is going to be. And so you had someone else who was managing your time. Now I had to manage my own time. So it was a little scary. I don't do well with change. So knowing that I was saying yes to a new opportunity was really, really scary for me. Really, really scary. And to be honest, I think you're probably going to ask me a little bit more question. Once I did take that jump and move into entrepreneurship, I took it slow because I was so still afraid. Am I really going to be able to do it?
Well, what's crazy is, we're both Aries. And so
Yeah.
it's really funny because we handle change very well, but I still think we run from it until the last possible moment. Like, okay, if we're going to do this change, here are the 30 things that need to be done. Let's go. Let's get it together. Look, we're here now. Let's make it happen. But that whole approach to getting there, to that change point, we're kicking and screaming. You talked about something that was really, I thought, wow, leaving power. Leaving power. That's let's talk about that. Who you gonna boss when you get to your house by yourself? You know, you in corporate, like who gonna get your coffee? All that kind of stuff. How do you manage not having that? And I'll say it this way: that perceived power. How do you manage now?
I didn't do well at all. Okay. And it took, I think when I started taking on clients, it was real difficult for me to really go into the coach mode, okay? Because typically I am one of these people who will just tell you what you need to do, and I need for you to do it. And that's how I was at work. Here's what I want done. This is how I want it done. This is what how I would do it. Here's the work, go do it, right? So when I started doing more one-on-one coaching, I realized that approach did not work with everybody, right? A lot of people need a more hand-holding. A lot of people need more encouragement. They need to know the why, the how, how it's going to affect them. I mean, it was just so much that I didn't have to deal with when I was teaching in the education, basically head professor, right? I didn't have to deal with that because you just did what I said. My experience spoke for itself. I had, 18 years over everybody else. So what I said goes. What Alease says, it went, right? There was no question. Now going into coaching people or actually pitching my services was so many people question what I knew. Like, how did you know that? Why do you need to know that? It was just so many questions. I was like, really? Like, you don't know me. Like, I'm the bomb diggity, right? Why are you questioning me? I know this, right? I even got certified to do these things that you have no earthly idea about. I am, a doctoral candidate. I have a master's degree. I had all these things. So why are you questioning me? And so that was really difficult for me to make that transition to say, you know what, people are questioning you because you're not positioning yourself as that expert in this new niche and this new platform. education was the platform that I was from, the classroom that I had positioned myself. I was an expert. People knew me. Now I'm on a different platform. I'm in a different niche. I needed to position myself as that person. And so it took about a year for me to realize that.
And so, sometimes power is also the same as identity. And identity is an internal piece. How did you manage changing from the professor, like I'm known as the professor? Listen, I've gone through that. Like, Google me. That's my first thing. People, well, what about this? You better ask somebody. You came to me. Why am I telling you? I'm not going to sell myself to you. You better pick up pick up your mouse and pick up your phone. What? But there is when you leave something that you're comfortable with, there is that loss of identity, but that's really an internal struggle. How did you manage like not being the professor and now being this expert in a different field?
Well, I had some help with that, because even though I was teaching, 19 years and that, I had an incident at work early on in my years, maybe my 5th year. I was department chair of the fashion department, so I really ran everything. But I wasn't complete with I hadn't started my doctoral program yet, right? And so when accreditation came in, they basically said that I wasn't qualified to be department chair. And so I had to step down. So I basically was fired from department chair and went into full-time professorship. Okay. So I had to deal with that loss of identity being a department chair to now, I was just a professor. Like, I'm just now teaching, right? And so I literally had to go through what I call the grief period, as if like something had died. And I went through I think it's 7 stages of grief of how I dealt with that, because I was angry for months. I was sad. I cried and cried and cried the first month, right? So I went through the 7 stages of this grief, and I taught myself to rebrand myself, right? I wrote a book called Greatness is in the Comeback, talking about that whole change that I went through and how did I rebrand myself. And so I had some help. So when I made the transition from being a professor to an entrepreneur, I sort of knew what was going to happen. Like, I knew how to handle it. I knew how to get through the grief. Honestly, I was so ready for the professorship to just go away that the 7 stages of grief I went through really fast, because like I was just ready for it to just, I hate to say die, but to go away. Right. It was time. It had, how you're wearing clothing that needs to be gone. Like, it's just holy. And that's what education was to me. Like, it got too many holes in it. Now it's time for me to move on. I need to put on some new pants, right? A new shirt kind of thing.
So you go from fashion,
Yes.
from how to look good. What do you need to do to make sure that you're making money out there in the fashion world?
Right.
To coaching coaches.
No, it didn't start off with it wasn't coaches at first. It was creative entrepreneurs, because I was in that field working with creative people. So I thought that was an easier transition for me.
And why are you not there now?
Because the creative entrepreneurs were great. Okay. But I realized I was talking to everybody, like fashion people, photographers, culinary, anybody who is like artsy, right? Selling artwork. And it was just, my message was just getting messy, right? And I realized that I'm confused. Like, I'm tired. I'm talking to this person about fashion, then I'm talking to this person about makeup, and I'm talking about, it was just too much. And so what I realized is that what I'm really good at is teaching other coaches to be like me. How did you start the coaching business? And so I honestly didn't start to make that transition until about maybe 3 years ago, to only speaking to coaches, in particular life and business coaches.
What are the biggest issues that are facing those types of coaches as it relates to marketing or just in business in general? Like what's working with you?
Okay. So you're asking some really good questions.
Oh, sorry.
Be- because I niche down to life and business coaches, I even niche even more to life and business coaches, female life and business coaches between the ages of 35 and 55. And really, if I really niche it, because I'm probably niched down even more to 45 to 54 is my area, right? So the 45 to 54-year-old coach struggles with the whole online thing. Like, how do I speak to someone that is not in front of me? How do I market to someone who is not in front of me? Or I'm too old to be doing this, or I'm not tech savvy, right? So they are struggling with the newness of this, which to me it's not new. Like, it's been around, but I can't assume that because I've been working in this field for so long. For other people, this is so new to them. They have no clue. So the struggles that I think a lot of the people I work with first is to get over themselves, that and building up their confidence that this is possible for them. And then the second hurdle would be the technology, right? They think the technology behind it is so difficult. And I'm thinking, Lord knows, compared to what it was 10 years ago, this is easy breeze. Like, this is so easy compared to where it was before. So the struggle, I would say the main struggle is getting over themselves, building up their confidence to say that they can do this. The second struggle is the technology and how to use the technology to market their business in an easy way. And honestly, the last thing, and I think this is more an internal thing that they're fighting with, is there's so many people saying all these things that you have to do. I'm a little different and say you can just choose what you want to do. There's so many different ways to get to the money. You just need to choose which one is best for you. And for me, I like to share with people those different opportunities and let them know which marketing strategy is best for this type of person. If you're not tech savvy, do it this way. If you're a little tech savvy, do it this way. If you're comfortable in front of the camera, do it this way. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yeah. So there are three major gems that you just dropped. And I want to make sure that listeners catch on to these three things, because this is the part of the digital marketer that is Alease Michelle that she doesn't really let out there, let shine. We all learn these different little techniques that are behind the scenes, but business is business. Business has principles, business has strategies, and we put all these nice bows around them. But when it comes down to it, it goes back to this. The first thing she did was she niched down. That was one. The second one is, did you catch the avatar? She knows exactly who she's talking to. She knows exactly who they are. She has the age group. And if we ask her some more questions, she'll give us a name for that person, where they live, how much money they have, what kind of car do they buy, because she is deep into understanding who she is here to serve. And then number three, my favorite. Now, at least you know this one, my favorite one. She found the pain and the pressure. She identified the pain and the pressure of that avatar and created a product and a service that answers that. And if you've listened to me for any length of time, I talk before and after, and I talk pain, pressure, and I've thrown in pleasure. That's my new one, Alease, pleasure. But the bigger the pain, the bigger the pressure that you can solve solve for your people, the more money you make. And so if you listen very closely to what she said, she says, I found out where they were. I found which ones I wanted to work with. I identified them, and then I found out what was hurting, and I fixed it. Praise the Lord, yeah.
Yes.
and,
Well,
and that is so so the transition, that one of the reasons I want to interview was definitely because of that change from education into entrepreneurship, because most people would figure that that's a drastic change. But you're taking curriculum and skill sets that you've learned, that you've perfected over your years, being paid in this education field, to now apply that. Were there any mental jumps that you had to go through to say, you know what, I already know how to do this? let me just see how I can massage it for this new audience?
That's a mental jumps. I don't, you know what? I'm going to say no. And the reason why I'm going to say there was no mental jumps is because I'm doing uh, my purpose, my gift is to teach, right? And before I even became an educator, I took all those personality tests, I took all those things, and all those things kept pointing me back to being an educator. And so what I do is just naturally me. Just I can teach something that I just learned that probably is the most difficult for anybody else. I can turn around and teach it to somebody else that fits where they are, right? Just by having a conversation with this person, I'm like, oh, okay, let me just teach it this way, right? Your experiences are going to be different. So I'm just a natural educator. I'm just a natural teacher. It was in my bones a long time ago. My grandma recognized it a long time ago, and I fought it, tooth and nail. And I'm just lucky that I found out early that that's just a gift that I had.
What test did you take?
I took the what color is my parachute? I took the Myers-Briggs, which gives you the letters like SJ. I don't remember my lettering. I also took another personality test that I think it was part of parachute. I took so many in my 20s to figure out because I was miserable. I didn't know what I was going to be, what I was supposed to be doing in my 20s. And so I just took these tests and they all came back to the same thing, which was teaching.
That's absolutely wonderful. People, go out, take some tests, try to figure out what it is. Because I think what I'm hearing is I figured out who I was. I figured out what I was good at, and then I connected who I was, what I was good with, what I was good at doing with what my stated purpose in life is to do. And I think what happens in this entrepreneurial journey is we learn something or we are someone, and then when we jump into doing business for ourselves, we tend to forget about all of that stuff that we know. We try to find out it's all different, only to come back 6, 7, 8, 9 years later and go, you know what? I'm a teacher. That's that. Teaching is what I do. I've just changed from being in front of a classroom to being in front of a video camera. I've traded in textbooks for PDFs. I'm still going to do the same thing that I was doing before. I've just changed kind of how I'm applying that to people and applying that in a thing. And I think if people could come to understand that everything that you've learned in your past is really part of building your platform for your future, this transition would be much quicker. So let's talk about this because we have to jump into this section of everything. Alease, where did you fail?
Oh, I failed at, okay, so my first fail was choosing a service that I heard everyone else say you should start with, okay? And everyone would tell you that, especially when you go into coaching and consulting, that you should start with one-on-one clients, okay? Because that's where the money is, right? High-end one-on-one clients. And I felt so miserable at that, not because I didn't get to help my clients get transformation, is that it just was not a right fit for me. I knew, and again, if I go back to what was a struggle for me teaching, it was a struggle for me in this business. I don't do really well with holding people's hand. Like, I just don't. I need for you to just do what I say and then do it. That's just what I need for you to do, right? And one-on-one coaching requires you to hold hands, hold them through the process. And I was coaching and I was also doing the consulting work. Like, I was doing the work for them too, which is another service. So I didn't realize that I was doing too much. And when I realized that, I was then too afraid to stop what I was doing because then I thought I was going to disappoint my clients. So again, I'm in this mode of working for them, and not working for me. So I did one-on-one coaching for a year and hated it. And the reason why I hated it and I was so afraid to say no to these one-on-one clients because I felt like I needed the money. So I failed at not trusting my gut. I failed at listening to what other people were doing and thinking that was the right move for me. However, if I didn't do it, I wouldn't know that was not the right move for me. And it slowed me down. Like I can't even explain it. It just slowed me down so much. If I realized that so early on that one-on-one was not for me, I would be at a different place in my current business now and what I do now and what I offer to my clients. So I failed at that. My first coaching program, I didn't get anybody to sign up. I spent so much time in my little office working like a little elf, right, on something, and then try to sell it, and nobody signed up. Okay. I failed at my first videos. If y'all go back and watch my YouTube videos, they are horrible, absolutely horrible. I failed at not thinking I was good enough. Oh my gosh. So if you guys can hear me, I have a strong Southern accent. Okay. And I also have a stuttering problem and I have a learning disability. I'm a dyslexic. So certain words and certain things don't come out right. Okay. It just don't. I can try my best. And so someone reached out to me, told me on one of my videos, I don't know what it was. She said that, hey, I can help you with that speech. I can help you talk better. It was something. And it hurt my feelings so bad that I probably didn't do a video for about a month or two. And so what I realized is that I don't know what made the click for me. Like, I know I can't say this, but it clicked for me to say, just do your best. And no, this is what it was. I was like, girl, you just got paid. You were a 6-figure earner in the education field and you taught every single day. So whatever this woman has to say to you, she can go and, kick rocks. It literally, I had to change that and say, just do you. If no one likes the way you sound, if no one likes that you stutter, if no one likes that you might mess up a word and I catch myself, right? Then they're not your audience. They're not your tribe. So I had to just go back to what I used to do. Think about like, girl, you was a 6-figure earner. What are you talking about? This woman don't know you. Just do you. So I know I just gave you so much. I just want you to realize that I fail at everything. I still fail at stuff. There are things that right now that I've launched on my computer that didn't do well at all. Sometimes I beat myself up of not reaching an income goal that I thought I should be able to make. So I feel like I fail at something every single day. Right now, in the back of my head, I feel like even talking to you guys, I feel like I'm rambling on. Like no one's going to listen to me. Someone's going to think I'm crazy. So I'm having these thoughts as I'm doing it. But the thing is, I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
I like to call it, I'm doing it ugly, but I continue to do it.
Oh my goodness. Wait. Okay. So.
I'm sorry. I just gave a lot, didn't I?
Trust your gut. We got to break it down. Trust your gut. Accept that your no is good enough. Okay. And then 3, do it while you're scared. That was 4, be yourself.
Yes.
And 5. So let's jump into 5 because this one is really good. Do it ugly. All right. Talk just briefly, just a little bit more about overcoming the failure instinct. And that, I think that happens to us because we're perfectionists. We like it perfect. And especially when we're coming from high profile, high earning jobs, we feel that when we jump into entrepreneurship, it needs to be at the same level that we left it. Walk us through your process of doing it ugly.
Okay, doing it ugly clearly means I had to get over being a perfectionist, right? And I have to go back to my previous job, what I did. My first job in out of college was, and this is so funny. When I was in college, I took a public speaking class, right? And I was horrible. I barely passed. I got a D in it, right? Barely passed it because I was just so afraid. But again, God knows where He wants to take you. So He puts you in position, right? So my first job out of college was a trainer. I was a corporate trainer, and I trained all the employees at an amusement park, right? Every employee that came through had to go through my training. And so I remember being really afraid to do this presentation, my first one. And my boss said to me, people do not know what you do not know. And whatever is in that book, if you forget something, they don't know it. They don't have the book. They don't have the script. So just do it. And if you mess up, just say, hey guys, I messed up. Let's go back on this, right? They don't know when you mess up. They don't know what you were supposed to have covered. They don't know what it was supposed to look like. And so you're worried about something that other people don't even know it exists. So that philosophy that he taught me took me so far in my career to being a 28-year-old applying to be a assistant professor who had never taught in the classroom in her life was bold because I could hear him saying to me, they don't know what you don't know. And if you present it as if this is the holy grail, if you believe it, they believe it. Even though you feel like this is, you just slapped this together, put it together in Kinko's really quick, they don't know that if you don't tell them. So it's that philosophy that, sometimes we worry about things again, like people don't even know it was supposed to look this way. And we spend so many hours hemming and hawing over something that you think in your mind it should look like. They don't know that it was supposed to look like that. And most of the time, what I realized when I put things out, in my mind, this is ugly. Most people are praising me like, oh, this is the best thing ever. This is great. And that is what taught me to just do it ugly. But sometimes we are so in our feelings about something, we don't even get the chance to get the praise for the ugliness. Right? If you get the praise for the ugliness, you ain't gonna be worrying about trying to be pretty.
Oh, wow. Okay. They don't know what you don't know, and they don't know what you do know. And sometimes, and it sounds cocky, but sometimes I have to go here in my mind because again, I struggle with perfection. That's my cross to bear. But sometimes I have to say, you came to me. Listen, I didn't call you. You came to me to learn this stuff. So sit back and let me teach it the way I'm going to teach it. And if you think you can teach it better, then you should have taught the class, or you should have had the product, or you should have had the service, or you should have had whatever it is that you wanted to do. Sometimes we struggle with the customer is always right.
Mm.
And just to go back quickly to what you said that I thought was germane when you said I wasn't working on my business, I was working on their business.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes, not even sometimes, many times we sacrifice the working on our personal business in order to run and work someone else's issue.
Right. Which is, it's just like you're just an employee again.
Yeah, and I think what we have to do as entrepreneurs is, especially those who are now CEOs, and we're now running the show, is understand our prime job is to work on the company, to work on the systems, to work on how the flow of cash is, how to work on those things, and everything else is secondary.
Yeah.
It has to be. It reminds me of when they tell you on the airplane when you're flying to put your mask on first before you help someone else. I can't be the best coach or the best consultant or the best mentor if I'm drowning.
Right.
So I have to work my business. This is my hashtag preaching to myself. I have to work my business flow in order to be in a position to help you with your business flow.
Correct.
And at least those were the conversations you and I used to have like on a constant basis. Okay, this is great. That's a wonderful service that they'll have. Okay, so how do we create the service here first? How do we create that inside of this business first? How do we create that workflow? Okay, so you told us how you fail. How do you handle your successes?
Okay. I had to hire a therapist to help me with that. And so my therapist and she made me get a journal, and I have to write down my successes like once a week. Definitely before I get on the call with her, because we do a call once a month, I have to report all of my successes to her. And also put on my calendar the days that I celebrate myself for my successes. So it's been a work in progress. And I think you talked about that. I don't know if we did this in recording or before we got, in the green room, that one of the things that we struggle with as African Americans is celebrating the small things that we've done. And I think it goes back to, we were taught that we have to be better than other people. We have to be better than them. They're going to expect for us to be better. And I think that's why we get into this perfection, syndrome thing, that everything has to be perfect. And then if in that we don't take the time to celebrate the small steps that helped us get there. And so we go into this, we get stressed out, we have panic attacks because we're trying to make everything perfect and not realizing that, girl, look where you come from. Look where you've been. And because we're so looking for forward ahead, which is good, we're not present to what good things have happened in our life. And so I realized during the pandemic, I'm so glad I got through that. I had to get a therapist to get through that. And she was saying to me, one of the things is that you're so far ahead of yourself. You are not saying grateful, like I'm an ungrateful thing, but you're not realizing how far and how good you are doing. And because we're not getting those accolades from outside, from a job, which was the paycheck or the performance reviews. And, I used to get teacher evaluation. You're not getting that anymore. You have to be that person to celebrate yourself. So I'm a work in progress. I'm getting better every single day with that. My journal is full of successes. I celebrated myself last month and my successes of reaching my goals. But it's a work in progress.
I love that. Now, I'm going to have to figure out how to create a celebration day. The whole gratitude, if you're following me on social media, you'll see I use the hashtag keep going. And I got that from Stephen Furtick, who is a pastor here in Charlotte Elevation Church. And he was preaching this sermon. I can't remember the name of the sermon, but he got to this section that says, no one tells a small child when they're first learning how to walk that, look, you did horrible. You look like a drunk man. You can't even stay on your feet. You take 2 steps and you fall down. What we tell a child when they're learning is, you did good. Keep going. And I had to go back, Alease, and walk through myself and say, you know what? You might not have achieved B, but you got A plus. You got to A and a half. Sir, you did good. You did, now keep going. Keep going. And I had to get so, it's funny. I was telling someone about this. They just looked at me like I was crazy. I got to a point where I had to start doing this. Okay, I got wheels on my car. Okay, I got tires on the wheels. Okay, I got hubcaps on the tires that are on the wheels that are on the car. I got axle. I'm just grateful that I have an axle on my car. And when I put on the gas, I got a gas pedal. Like, I had to start going through. So I had to get real minute to just understand that the entrepreneurial journey is a journey, and that excellence is a journey, and that perfection is a journey. And then you have to stop and enjoy walking through that in order to even realize when you get to the end that you actually made it. I don't know. I remember saying in the office one time, I don't know if you were there, but Will was there. And I remember saying, I remember doing this huge event. We had 10, 15,000 people there. I mean, I made a ton of money. I made some serious money. We had all of these Grammy Award winning artists. I mean, like it was it. It was the thing. And the last night of the show that we did, everyone's out on stage getting hurrahs and jumping up and down and everything. And I literally was backstage in a curtain crying, depressed because I didn't know what was next. And so my whole world, I couldn't even live in the goal because I had been so focused on getting stuff. Gotta get this person, this limousine's coming in, we gotta get this flight, that I couldn't even celebrate the goal. I swore I would never be in that space again. So you just, Lord, oh, hallelujah. You just helped me out right there. Have a day. That's wonderful. That's what I think. And I think the other part of that is you really hit it when you said, when we're working for other people, that we have, staff evaluations and we have all of these small things that help to, make us feel good, help us to celebrate in the success. So the question becomes to you out there in the audience, do you have a success celebration day in your calendar? That is going to be your homework from the two professors here on the show, on the two professors on the show. Do you have a success celebration day in your calendar? Oh my goodness, Alease, that was it. We did 46 minutes to get to that point right there. we went all the way around to get to that point right there. Can you celebrate your success? It's okay to get past your failure, but can you celebrate your success?
Yeah.
Oh, and I think we're stuck. I think we're stuck in that spot right there, celebrating our success and not feeling bad about it.
Correct.
So do you go out to eat? Like, how do you celebrate some of your success?
I did a manicure, and because I hadn't done that in a long time, manicure, pedicure kind of thing. That was my success, my celebration for last month. This month's celebration might be a facial. It might be something like that. Things that I don't really do for myself often. But at the beginning of the year, I did a whole year. Looked at everything I did for the whole year of 2021. And so in January, my therapist okay, so what is your gift to yourself, your celebration gift to yourself for being so successful from last year? And so that is when I got my housekeeper. And so the housekeeper is a gift for me for doing so well from last year.
Okay. So how do you really make the difference in differentiating what is self-care, what is just a way of alleviating some stress in your life, and that this is the gift to myself because I achieved?
Ooh, that's such a good question, because I believe everything I do is part of my self-care. From the hours that I keep in my business to not answering the phone after 6 o'clock. So my celebration, the way I celebrate myself is, would you spend this on yourself any other day? Right? Would you go to this place as like going to McDonald's wouldn't be a celebration because I could do that anytime, right? But would you go to Fireburgers by yourself in the middle of the week and order anything you want on the menu, right? If you want 2 appetizers, get 2 appetizers. If you want the pasta in the steak, get the pasta in the steak, right? And the dessert. Like anything that I choose things that I normally wouldn't do every day. Something that I will always question myself, like, girl, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do, oh, that's not right. Don't do that. If I'm saying that to myself, I go ahead and do it. I just do it.
Got you. So this is to my friends who get their nails done every week. We're gonna need you to pick something else to celebrate.
Yes.
We're gonna need you to pick something else to celebrate. as your celebration of your success. Don't go do what you normally do in the course of your week or the course of your month. We want this to be special because the special side of that is what's going to make you want to move and do that. We got a few more minutes, and I know I got to let you go.
Oh, it's fine.
But you brought this up. It's your fault. You brought it up. It's your fault. Boundaries as a business owner.
Ooh, I got a lot.
And I'm just gonna put it out there right there. Boundaries as a business owner, and just let it roll.
I've got a lot. And again, this is, not even my therapist. I had to break this down to my therapist the way I'm like this. I am an only child. And so my attention span and my level of engagement is very limited, a small amount. Okay. So I do work. Again, I had to realize I was taking clients during the weekends. I was taking client calls after 6:00, and I don't do well after 6. My time frame that I do my best work is between 11 and 4:00. That's my window of time, 11 and 4. Literally, I used to teach classes that way. I didn't teach early morning classes because that's not when I do my best work, okay? 11 and 4 is when I do my best work. That's when I take my client calls. That's when I do my work in my business, 11 to 4. If you call me after 4:00 without sending me a text message telling me that you're going to call me at this time, I do not answer the phone. Okay, at all. I also leave that time span between like 4:00 and 6:00 is when my husband and I eat dinner. So that's our time together, right? And then 6:00 to 10:00 is our TV time. So after 4:00 is just family time, my husband time, and me time. If you can't fit it in between that time, I'm so sorry. You can catch me live and ask me questions during my live shows, or you can text me and I check my emails later, or whatever. However, I'm just a real stickler. If you want me to be my best self, you have to give me downtime. I am not a person who talks on the phone. I've set boundaries so early on in my life that I just know that I'm just not a good engaging person unless I am in that window of time, 11 to 4:00.
But I think you said it. That's the new T-shirt. I know I'm going to take it, and you may see it. Tweet it later on today. If you want me to be my best self, then you got to give me downtime. Mm-hmm. And I think for the people here who are listening, you got to figure out what's on the other side of that. If you want me to be my best self, then you got to give me A. You got to give me B. You got to give me C. Find out what is in that blank spot that allows you to be your best self. I am an introvert. I act extroverted, but being around a lot of people, I get over-peopled very easily. I have to take time away from not only people, I got to take time away from my family. Like, I'll give them a credit card and tell them, please leave. Please, just bring me a plate of bacon, and y'all can celebrate Father. This was Father's Days for years with my boys. Mm-hmm. Bring me a plate of bacon. Here's a credit card. Y'all go to the movies and leave me alone.
Right.
Because I can't be my best self if I'm dealing with the energies that are in the room. So people that she didn't listen. I don't know what to say now. She's rocked the whole show. The whole show comes down to some very key points. If you didn't catch them, you got to catch the show notes. I'm going to go back and listen to this one all again myself. But that right there, I can't be my best self if you don't give me. Woo! Oh Lord, that's good. That's good. That in the church we'd be like, oh yes, that right there. That'll, my pastor clients, I'm going, that's a sermon. That'll walk. That got legs. that got legs. That theme will get up and walk. Yeah. Alease, thank you so much. But before we leave, tell us, how can we find you? How can people connect with you? What's your process? She got to have a process. I promise you got a process. How can people be involved in this whole world of Alease Michelle?
Well, the easiest way is to just search for me on all platforms under Alease Michelle. And that's Alease and Michelle with 2 L's. I am Alease Michelle on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. TikTok, that's my brand, is Alease Michelle everywhere. But if you really want to really take deep dives with me, I do a live show every Thursday at 12 o'clock on YouTube. And it's a show that helps clients, it helps coaches, online coaches, business coaches, life coaches on how to market their business the simplest way possible. And this, I don't know when this is going to air, but the month of May is all about creating online courses that you can generate passive income in your coaching.
Wonderful. People, there it is. There you go. It's wonderful. Alease, thank you so very much. We're gonna have to do another one for
Sure,
for
I
one
love
of the
this.
other podcasts where we can because I want to take a deep dive, especially with you, into the technology of what we're using in business. And I know you and I use some of the same tools. Like we run around. I'm like, hey, I see you over here in this group. I saw that. What you using? How you using it? And I think that'll be a great help. But we're going to do that on the other podcast. Thank you so very much, people. Y'all give a round of applause. Jump up and down. Go find this phenomenal gem in the digital marketing space for coaches. My good friend, Alease Michelle. I love you. Thank you so very much for coming on.